Joined on the pregame show by Jon Goyens, the Baie-Comeau Drakkars head coach, coming into tonight's game. End of your maritime road trip. What are your thoughts on the trip thus far?
Definitely a long grind. We're in our fourth hotel at this point, especially with that morning school game. We had to leave 2 days in advance, really, with the ferry and all that type of stuff. But to be fair, to live these situations early in the season, you see a group grow and you see how they respond to adversity, not necessarily on the ice, the adversity of literally in and out of hotels where we could have days off. Your days off are filled with travel and so on. And we've got a group that's following their leaders, that are doing the things they need to do just to be ready for the next day. And we've seen a lot of growth out of our group in the last 5-6 weeks, and we're real happy.
I think a lot of the coaches will cite these maritime trips or Quebec trips for us as a team bonding, I guess you could say. Your team has been really good on the road this year. What's been the key to that?
If I had a pamphlet on exactly what the difference was between home and away, I'd read it every day. But the reality is, I think it's just, if we really look at it, early October, we had a lot of home games in a row, and that's where we had our toughest stretch. And I think ever since a real big kick in the pants against Rimouski in mid-October, really hurt these guys. It really left a bad taste in their mouths. We discussed stuff that was so far beyond X's and O's, and it was all based on what's been our motto all year, which is aced, and it's attitude, compete, effort, and details, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that type of mindset on a daily basis. They've really taken charge. I don't want to compliment the coaching staff whatsoever. I believe, if anything, it's the players and even the support staff that done a hell of a job to get these guys ready on a daily basis on the road. And right now, they're just thriving on competing, and they're not overtly or worried or concerned about the result at the end of the day.
Wanted to highlight some key players, two in the back end, Xavier Bouchard and Christopher Merisier-Ortiz, to tell us their style of play and what they mean to this team.
What's real good is that they're two different players. One's a little bit more of a stay-home, one is a little bit more dynamic offensively, but both have been defending much better. Both have been able to allow our forwards to get the puck early and often and quickly. And what we've seen is big minutes out of them with a lot more composure, especially in the last 6 weeks. As most people know, you build out from the net out and through the middle of the ice, and it's been a big help with those two guys the way they've been playing.
Also, I'm sure they're a big part of the penalty kill, which has been one of the strengths of your team. Tell us what's going right there.
I think it's just, there's a certain urgency that we've actually had since day one. And I believe that urgency on our PK and that momentum from our PK has now seeped into our 5-on-5 play, oddly enough. Our assistant coach, Jean-François, has done a hell of a job in preparing for each opponent. We stick to our identity and what we want to do, kind of like football. You got to pick your defensive play, and then you got to read and react. And the guys have been on their toes, and they've just been kind of sticking to it in quick shifts. And like I said, the state of urgency has been pretty consistent on the PK.
Two 19-year-old goalies, a bit different perhaps because it's a bit of a younger team. How do you like how you've handled the rotation there between those two?
I think it's been pretty good. Fitzy was out for a few games there in October, and Dakota had to step up, and we felt that it was important, win or lose, that he get in as many starts as possible. The reality was, with all the movement that had happened here the year before, two guys that were eligible to come back were 20-year-olds, and they're playing pro hockey right now. It really left kind of the cupboards bare, and we wanted to invest a little bit of time in some of our younger goalies getting bigger starts at lower levels, and it created a nice competition right off the get-go. There's a camaraderie between the two of them, but at the same time, they're both competing for starts, and that's what we want, just like our players.
Finally, we look at tonight's game. A Cape Breton team, you were with them the game in Baie-Comeau, and then it kind of got away from you in the third period. What do you see from tonight's game?
I see a lot of depth up front for them. I see a team that's got a lot of offensive poise and a lot of offensive urgency. I think, honestly, the fans are going to have a hell of a game to watch. The way our guys have been just skating and competing, and like I said, not overly concerned with the result. They're really living in the moment and period to period and through the process. And right now, they just want to be judged on how they play and not necessarily the score at the end of the day. And they look at this as just another challenge on the road, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch.
Well, we hope so. We look forward to it. Good luck tonight, John. Thanks for this.
Thanks.